pros and cons of staying clean in the midst of a pandemic. I've got 2 tips for you. Let's get it. Now look folks, the pros and cons of staying clean in the midst of a pandemic consists of many things, but I want to try to narrow it down to keep it as simple as possible. I believe in being clear and concise. So if you're clear and concise, you don't need to stretch something on for a long time, and you don't need to use sophistication to make your point. So let's start with the pros and then we'll go to the cons. Normally I was thinking of starting with the cons and ending up on a high note with the pros. Regardless of how you look at it, it's going to turn out to be the same. So with that being said, the pros of this: if you're new to recovery and you're trying to stay clean right now in the midst of this pandemic, what you're going to find is that, you're alone. And you should also find that having a sponsor is a big deal, because in the midst of your isolation, you have someone you can talk to, and you have to look at the upside. Why did you do all the things you did, alleviating a negative lifestyle, just to mess it up again, right? Well, that's the obvious thing. But however, it's easier said than done. Take it from someone who knows. For over 25 years of my life, I was a substance abuser, and I did every drug except for intravenous drugs. And many times, people ask me, why do you always talk about it? Or why do you tell people about it? In fact, why do you tell people about it in corporate arenas?
Because that's not who I am. That's what I did to get where I am.
So I can tell you this from experience. I know that when you're isolated, especially at a time like now, in the midst of a pandemic, where people are supposed to keep their distance, there's social distancing, but there's also loneliness or isolation in our thinking. It's very easy to have that, bad thought. It's very easy to glamorize old war stories, as we call them. However, you have to look at things a lot more realistically. You have to look at what you're risking, and are you willing to risk all of your clean time? Are you willing to risk the relationships? Are you willing to risk the trust factor that you're trying to reestablish now that you're seeing life through a new lens? So the pros are, if you can lean on your sponsor, then you have a better chance at staying clean. The pros are, if you can think about what's at stake and what you could lose, you have a better chance at staying clean. If you know that you want to have food in the house, you want to have money in your pocket, you want to enjoy all the pleasures of life, even in the midst of a pandemic, this is a great opportunity for you to grow and be the best version of you. Literally, pun intended and unintended. And why I say that is because you have a time and an opportunity to reflect. Think of the people that you hurt. Think of the things that you lost, the opportunities. And I know I said 2 points or 2 tips, but within those 2 tips, there's going to be a lot to extract, because everything does not relate to everybody. And I want you to think about all those things, because before you pick up another drink, before you do any other mind or use any other mind-altering substance, is it really worth it? And I know the answer is obviously no. And if you're really a strong person, strong-willed, strong-minded, you will refrain and you will use your resources. You will use your sponsor if you feel weak, if you feel vulnerable, if you find yourself leaning towards a direction that's going to ruin your life. And they always talk about people, places, and things, right? That's 3 elements, but those 3 elements work like the 3 musketeers, right? All for one and one for all. When you're around negative people, usually you're going to find them in certain places, and usually they do specific things. negative activities. So avoiding those people, places, and things, and using your resources, your sponsor, and the time that you have positively, the time that you have constructively, will put you in a better place or a better space to win, to stay clean, and to appreciate and enjoy all the benefits of your recovery. And you'll find that one day leads to the next, 1 week leads to the next, 1 month leads to the next, and 1 year leads to the next. And again, what this will do for you, it will give you a sense of strength, inner strength, mental strength, and you'll find that you probably could have done this all along. Now here are the cons. The cons are very obvious in my eyes, but that's only because I'm using hindsight and my experience to share it with you all. The cons are very simple. When you're left to your own devices and you do not call your sponsor, you do not elect to have a sponsor, a lot of things can happen to you or happen that are not in your best interest. You see, when you're isolated because you don't need anyone to help you, you don't want anyone in your business will become common business. And common business is usually street business and it's very low value. And that's the same thing that puts you in the position that you're in the first place. Because you wouldn't try to get clean if you had made better decisions. So in the midst of a pandemic, the isolation can be very hazardous to your mental health. You don't want to really be in your own space, making your own choices. Now, to a degree, of course, you have to make your own choices. However, there are resources available to you and you should capitalize on them. You see, left to your own devices, again, you will make bad decisions because of those bad thoughts. And all of those choices will come back to haunt you when it's all said and done. Now, there's a laundry list of things that I could tell you that's bad about being isolated, even if it wasn't a pandemic. But because it is a pandemic, that kind of justifies your reasoning for being alone. It also justifies people that don't like to be told what to do. It justifies them doing things or saying, I didn't know, or I did not plan it. And I get it. Many times we don't know, and many times we don't plan it. But these are the things that happen when you're left to your own devices and you're making your own choices, which is why you're asked to make a certain amount of meetings. Now, I know that you may not be able to be around other people. Social distancing, I get it. But perhaps you can do Zooms with people that are in recovery with you. Perhaps you can do WhatsApp. What's that application? Perhaps you can do WhatsApp or Zooms with your sponsor. Perhaps you can stay busy by, staying active on social media in pages that are dedicated to people that are in recovery, or by dialogue. I know. Journal your thoughts, sharing what you feel and what you think on paper. This could be a good time to write a book, to tell your story. Now, I can tell you a quick story really quick about myself. When I got clean, I thought it was such a wonderful idea and such an exhilarating feeling that I was experiencing, I wanted to write a book. And I began to do just that. I started writing my first book, and because I had never written a book, I got writer's block. And when I got writer's block, what happened? I stopped because I couldn't write. I didn't know anything about formatting. This is a good time to do research. Hey, look, I'm only going to tell you things I know that can help you, and I'm only going to tell you things I know that can work. Now look, you may not feel like doing any of these things. You may not want to acknowledge these things. My friends, I'm telling you, you may be setting yourself up for failure. And all I would like to do is give you a couple of tips, which has additional nuggets attached to it, for you to take advantage of it, take advantage of my mindset, take advantage of my experience, strength, and hope, and capitalize on it. Living your best life, experiencing so many things that are waiting for you to catch up to it. And you'll find that in many cases, living your best life is so much more than what you could have imagined. You know, I don't know what it is that you want in life or what you would like to be, but it's always best to do it with a clear train of thought. And it's always best to do it when you're thinking about positive things, when you have people on your side. So I would strongly advise, take these steps seriously. You know, and if you're getting any value from this, please share it out. Subscribe to this page, because being the best version of you is something that no one else can do. You see, there's only one of you, and no one else can fill that slot. So stop trying to fit in, because it's obvious you, my friend, you are meant to stand out.